Hey everybody, it is it my motivation. So I've been fostering like this little topic, right? And I've been fostering this topic because I think I've been trying to like collect information. And I've been trying to collect information just mentally from like a bunch of different people, a bunch of different situations. Um, because it's always something that's there. Like it's always something that's there. So I titled this one like redefining crabs in the bucket because like people are 2024 2024, let me say it right, yeah, but I have to say 2024 because it's ghetto. Like this is the most like this year, even though this was the year of um exposure, like people being exposed, it's some things I wish was still kind of hidden. Like it's literally some things that I wish was kind of hidden. So I wanted to kind of like redefine crabs in a bucket, right? And why I say redefine is because people think that their new tricks are not old tricks. And so they feel like I'm doing this and they don't really realize or they not really paying attention. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all people who are crabs in a bucket, right? People know it. They 100% know it. They just choose not to like engulf in it with you. They just choose not to entertain it or they just kind of like want to see what you're going to do. At this point, I think if anybody in this world is using someone or anybody in this world is selfish or I think something like that's a mental illness. Like you need to get some help and you need to talk to somebody. And that's in all seriousness. That's not no joke. Like you really need some help. But redefining craps in a bucket, um, system wise, let's go with that first because I'm always talking about the system because I feel like the system creates a big issue for a lot of things in this world. And when I say the system, I'm talking about the system in general, schools, government. Um, let's just talk about what just happened here in Florida. So we just had a hurricane, Hurricane Milton. We had a hurricane before that too. I forgot the hurricane name, but Hurricane Milton was a demon. Like that hurricane was crazy. Like that was crazy. It tore up a lot of stuff, flooded lots and lots of areas. And not that the other hurricane didn't flood areas, but in Florida, but not as bad as this one did. This was like, wow. So during the process of this, you have flooding, you have damage to your house. And so people are applying for FEMA. They're applying for FEMA and they're trying to get, whatever assistance that they can get to be able to help them like regroup because some people's houses was flooded for days. I know outside my apartment, I don't think that water went down for 5 days. I mean, I felt really bad for the people who lived closer to the lake, back towards in front of the lake because that was wild. So you have people applying for FEMA and instead of people applying for FEMA and being honest about what it is that they can get, first of all, y'all know they don't have no money, right? This the first thing. They done gave all the money away. So we know they don't have no money in reality. But they got to give us something because our tax dollars done paid for this stuff. So they got to skip the Malou who they give to. So you got the people applying for this FEMA. And instead of being honest about their damage, like they saying they lost thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff. And that's what people gonna do. People are going to do that. That is like a natural thing for them to do. Is it natural? Probably not, but we're gonna say natural because that's what people do. So you got people doing that, and then you got other people who are basically like they just hating. They just upset. And I get it. You upset because you feel like this person is getting something that you can't get. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I didn't get no FEMA. Maybe I make too much. I don't know what the issue is. I don't even care because I really ain't even try like most people, went all into it. I didn't really care. It didn't really matter to me. Whatever needed to be done, it's gonna have to get done. Either way, if FEMA give it to me or if I have to do it myself. But I'm a big person when it comes to governmental assistance. When my children were little, like 2, 3, 4, like somewhere in that age range, I got food stamps. And I remember one time not getting my food stamps. Like I think I had to recertify or something like that. And I remember I was so distraught. Like, I was so distraught. I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do? I gotta get some food. What am I gonna do?" Not even really thinking like, "Girl, you got a job, go buy some food." Just really wanting to like, I was so codependent on these food stamps. Like, I was codependent on these food stamps. I was codependent on, if I don't have food stamps, then I don't have no food. But after that moment, I prayed and I said, "God, you know what? Take this away from me because I don't want to be codependent on nothing where something controls how I eat and how my children eat." So when I'm talking about these crabs in the bucket or redefining the crabs in the bucket, people are applying for this system. They might not be telling the truth or whatever. They might be telling the truth or whatever. But whether you telling the truth or you telling a lie, if you're telling a lie, you pulling people down because you're wasting time that other people who really need the assistance can go out there and get it. But see, nobody don't be wanting to have these conversations because they feel like, oh, I'm gonna get it. If it's free, it's for me. And I laugh because it's like I get tired. I get tired of seeing people do that when you work a job. If you appropriate your funds properly, then you could do whatever you think FEMA was going to do for you instead of waiting and spending all this energy doing something that, like you could really do it yourself. And I think it's a lot about people not believing in themselves. So I'm going to redefine this crabs in the bucket. So you had that happen. And then you have people, like they upset with FEMA, they calling, they cussing them out, they getting mad because people are for whatever reason posting their amount of money that they get in on the internet. I don't know why people doing that. I feel like it's a crab in the bucket thing. During the storm, one of the things that really frustrated me was the fact that, people was going into neighborhoods and they was feeding people. And they like literally putting these people on the internet, like, yeah, we out here feeding such and such and such and such and this, that, and the other, da 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 da. Da. Who cares? Those people just went through a traumatic event. They hell not looking like they sad, they done lost their clothes. Why would you put them on the internet? Why wouldn't you consider that maybe I don't want nobody to see me like this? But this is what I be talking about, like redefining crabs in the bucket, because now we make it seem like we helping people when we're really not helping people. We're exploiting them. We are exploiting them. I ain't like I always say, I'm spiritual. I'm not gonna say like I'm a particular religion. But I know that there's a scripture in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah, and it don't say exactly this in each one of them, but there's a Bible that say what you do in there's a scripture that says what you do in secret, God will bless you openly. I can't understand why people always gotta be on these internets, like showing people who they feeding and they doing this. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I feel like we drag people down when we do that. Yeah, they happy because now they look good and this and yeah, they gave me the permission to do that. They probably didn't really understand what was going on. But why does the world have to know when you support somebody? Just support them. Redefining crabs in a bucket. Like redefining what a crab in the bucket is. Because now we put on, like I said in my last podcast, now we try to make sense out of things that don't make sense because we want to be right. So I always have to bring it back because I know universally people say that they are Christian and they read the Bible and they love God and they doing this because of God and da, 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 da. Well, you didn't read the part where it say what you're doing secretly with what you do in secret will God will bless you openly. I don't think nobody's seeing. I'm confused. I'm perplexed. Crabs in a bucket. And then the more y'all know I'm coming over here from the rant. So then the morally, they're when you go into communities and you have a community of your own, you come from a community, a neighborhood, or wherever you from, you know, you want to treat that place with because you live there. You live there. So you live there. So you want to treat it with respect. You want to make sure that it's cared for and catered to. And y'all excuse my son. I don't know why he keep walking back and forth, but he do. You want to treat it with respect and you want to make sure that Your neighborhood is the best neighborhood because we holler this my hood so much. But when you look around your hood, you got fences down, you got trash on the ground, you got people sleeping any kind of way. You doing anything in your neighborhood. So I don't understand like the representation of this my hood if you're not gonna take care of your hood. See, some of this stuff not adding up for me. And maybe it's me, maybe I'm too rational. I don't know. But if that's your hood, you're gonna respect your hood. So if something is given to you, and this is a place like I remember when I was young, my dad would say, you don't SHIT where you live. And he probably was meaning that in another analogy, but when you think about it in a natural sense, if that's your hood, you're gonna take care of your hood. But we constantly breaking down like our neighborhoods. We constantly tearing them down with just like idiotic stuff. Stuff that you could really think and be like, I ain't got to do that. I don't have to throw a whole McDonald's bag with all the food that I just ate outside on the ground. I literally can just take it in my house and throw it in the trash, or I can stop by the store and I could throw it in the trash. Stuff that will take like a moment to do, like we don't want to do it. So then when you bring this to somebody, they get upset. Oh, no, no, no. Why you bad? Oh, you think you better than us? No, I think that your hood better than this. It's the intellect, it's the mindset, redefining crabs in the bucket, like completely redefining like what you think a crab in the bucket is. Because we say these terms all the time. Oh, crab in the bucket. That's somebody black bringing somebody else black down. It ain't even got to be somebody black. It could just be anybody. Anybody that you bringing down that's constantly trying to lift you up. This person can be a crab in the bucket with you and pull you up, but when they pulling you up, you study trying to pull them down. But this is the world that we live in where people feel like they don't have to they don't have to do things because they don't feel like it. So then it makes me question like people say who raised you? I believe that some people come from good homes. And I believe that they was raised properly. I just believe that when they got older, they had some kind of entitlement where they feel like people owe them something because of who they are. But who are you? Because do you really know who you are? Do you really know like what you do? Like one thing that been eating me up because people been driving me like wild with this. If you don't have your stuff together, like, if you don't have your life together, like, if your life is in shambles, in pieces, you can't talk about nobody else. Now, for y'all people who say y'all love God and y'all living for God and y'all Christian, it's a scripture in the Bible for that too. Like, how can you talk about somebody else when you already got a stuff built up against you? People will sit around and we will judge each other for all of the wicked, nasty, da, 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 da. Your hair not right, your clothes ain't right, you ain't do that right, you ain't do this right. You like you come with all this stuff you ain't do right when you really talking about yourself. You literally talking about yourself. I had to tell somebody something the other day. I said, if you about to come over here to me and you about to talk about somebody else's business, make sure you tell me your business too. Because the people who are the most judgmental, the people who talk about people the most, are the ones who have the most secrets. They don't want to tell nobody their business. Everything they do, they want it to be a secret. They don't want nobody to know about it. They want to move in silent. Go ahead on with that. But they want to tell you everybody else's business and they know everybody else's business and they judging everybody else and this person ain't doing this right and that person ain't doing all alone. They got a whole bunch of skeletons in their closet. You have to be transparent. Even me as a speaker, I don't care about y'all knowing my business. I come on here and tell my business. It doesn't matter. Because no matter what happens, it's still my business. But I don't have time to be putting people down. You have to get in the space in your life where you don't care what somebody else is doing so you can focus on you. Redefining crabs in a bucket. We focus so much on other people and what they doing and how you don't like their life and how you don't like what they got on and how you this and how they that. When your life ain't even you ain't even together. You ain't even getting your hair done every week or getting your hair cut every week. You ain't even got $20 to rub together. Like, what's wrong? What is wrong with us? Crabs in a bucket. People would rather put you down and talk about you than teach you how to do something different or try to explain to you, like, hey, I see your baby ain't got her hair done, but other people, ooh, child, such and such ain't had her baby hair done, but her hair was done. Why not say something? Why do we keep allowing people to go in this world doing stuff that's crazy and we don't say anything to them, but we will talk about them? I'm not understanding that. Some people get mad at me, some people don't. But I'm very outspoken, but I'm outspoken in love. Because if I see you doing something and I feel like, ooh, that's not good, and I feel like you a person that I can talk to and you teachable, I'm gonna tell you. But if I see you doing something, nobody will never know. 1,000 people might come to me and say, did you see such and such on the internet? I'll act like I ain't know because I'm not finna sit there and talk about you. It is what it is. If that's what you want to do, enjoy yourself. But at the same time, stop tearing people down. I'm a big person on words, and I've said this 100 times on my podcast. I'm a big person on words. So what you say to somebody, that's what you imparting into their life. What you say about somebody is what you're imparting about their life. But if you got junk, if you got mess, if you got skeletons in your closet, don't be talking about nobody else. Let them people live their life the way that they want to live their life, and you live your life the way that you want to live your life. Redefining crabs in a bucket. Redefining crabs in a bucket. I was thinking earlier how back in the day, people would say like they would have their family members, like a whole bunch of family members living in a house. And so, and this happened to me too. This happened to me a couple of, I ain't gonna say a couple of, it's been some years, probably like 10, 15 years, living in a house with a bunch of family members, in-laws and stuff. And so people would be like hiding food. People would be like going out to eat and then don't even offer the other people something. Some people will be paying bills and some people ain't paying bills. Like crazy stuff. Like the most absurd stuff. And then when you say something to them, they'll be upset. Like they'll feel offended that you called them out on a mess. Cause you wrong. No, you right. You right for calling them out on their mess. They just don't want to be honest about their mess. So they'll be hiding food. The one thing I hate is when you have a group of people or people living in a house together and you got people acting shady. Like that is like the one crab in the bucket thing that because other people can come in a house together and everybody can come up together. But when you get this shade, melanated, melanated people in a house together, you always have one person that's moving snake. You always have that. And it's always the person that is like barely contributing to anything. And they feel offended when you say, "Oh, you went out to eat, you ain't say nothing to nobody." "Oh, well, I'm just trying to take care of me." Like I be laughing about this stuff because I just be like in my mind, I'm like, like people, the audacity of people, the mind of them is like, come, like you joking, right? Like that was really a joke. That was really a joke. And then they'll come up with everything wrong. Once you put something in somebody's face, they'll come up with everything wrong that they can find about you to say, well, I can't wait till I get my own place good. And you're still gonna be doing the same thing. Good. Instead of saying, you know what, my bad. I should have said something, or I didn't have the money, or whatever. redefining crabs in a bucket. In this world, I'm learning that you cannot help people. You cannot help people unless you have some kind of like contract. Because people that you support or that you think you can help, they'll flip, turn, twist, turn, and act like you never did nothing for them. They'll act like you never stuck it. And then they will say stuff like, well, you don't know what I'm going through. Wait, but you don't know what I'm going through either. But this is the world that we live in. That when you say something that's proper to somebody, or you say something that is like, this ain't just me telling you this is how life go. You wrong. And I'm just gonna get my stuff and I'm finna go. Go. Stop sugarcoating stuff for people. Stop making people feel comfortable to be doing stuff that's wrong. Because obviously somewhere in life nobody told them. Instead of talking about them, tell them to their face, you wrong. They may not listen, they may not understand, they may not change whatever, but I promise you this, somewhere down the line they gonna think about it, and they gonna think about that conversation, and it may be when they in their own place, or when they doing their own thing, or when they helping somebody else, because one thing I know about this world is everything come full circle. Everything comes full circle. What you give out, you get back. So if you giving out negative energy, you're gonna get that same energy back. If you're giving out positive energy, that's the energy you're gonna give back. Is why I tell people I don't do bad juju. So if you think that in this space, in this time, in this age, that I'm doing something wrong to you, it's something wrong with you. Because anything that I want to return back to me is gonna be good on every level. But you cannot explain things to people that are crabs in the bucket. It's hard to talk to them because their whole goal is to come up, and I'm not worried about what you have going on. I'm not worried about the fact that you may not know how to take care of your child, but I know how to take care of my child, and so I could give you some pointers. And you may get upset at first because you feel embarrassed, but then there may be a time when you open and you're ready to listen and you're ready to learn. I'm not worried about the fact that I'm helping you do something in your life. You don't know what I'm sacrificing to help you. And it doesn't even matter because this is the world that we live in where people only think one way. They only see one way because they want to tell you, and they want to have this predetermined notion about what you have going on. There was a lady a few weeks ago where she was walking. And I had saw her a couple of times, like a couple of times walking. I'm like, dang, I see this lady a couple of times. So at one time I had somebody in the car. It was like, she must be homeless. Da, 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 da. She does, da, 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 like it was going on and on and on. And I was like, well, maybe she just lost. Maybe she don't even know where she at. We honestly don't be knowing what be going on. We just be making up stuff instead of asking the question, hey, ma'am, you okay? You lost? Perhaps she wasn't lost. Perhaps she was walking because she was upset. So she just pacing up and down the road, a familiar space that she know. We don't know. I think I said this on a podcast too before. I remember my dad has said, when you assume ASS, you and me, you make an ass out of you and me. When you assume anything, don't assume nothing. Ask questions. Get to know people's situation. If you really that concerned where you feel like you got to leave that person, you got to go talk about them to somebody else, or you that concerned where you feel like this person is doing something that is bad, ask them because maybe you don't understand. Maybe you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. You just looking at something from the outside in and not even saying boom. And then for the people who getting asked the question, answer the question. I don't know where we came from this thing where people are not allowed to ask questions because you're still going to do whatever you want to do anyway. It's time to like live in freedom and not hide from like who you really are or what you really have going on. I don't understand what they're hiding for. Just be open. I say this all the time. If you're a prostitute, be the best prostitute you can be. If that's what you do, then that's what you do. If you're a liar, be the best liar you can be. But tell people this is who I am. This is what I do. This is my expectation of life. It's really time to change some things and try to be somebody different and do something different and leave folks alone. Leave folks alone. Leave them alone. Worry about yourself. Focus on you. This world changing every day. If you focusing on something beyond you, something wrong. The rent high, the food high. They want to close down the schools. You're gonna be at home educating your kids. I love y'all.